Do note before read, set in 1850s, gay means happy, queer means odd. The Unruly. You saw him, asked the Reverend Liebert. Who? The suzerain. Maybe. Just answer the question. I don't know. I could have, but I'm not so sure anymore. The Reverend's footsteps halted and the sound of his cloak rustling faded, and he looked at the child. They sank into the tall grass. Their queer fool of a man ducked to, and he was laughing and his toe scratching behind his ear. He stared at the red orchid in the sky, and he pointed at it and laughed like some dying apostate from Arcadia. Its rays of light, like a million tiny spiders, scuttling up his face and into his eyes. The child crawled away from the fool, and he knelt next to the Reverend. There was a cruel and grueling laugh that came from neither the Reverend, child, nor fool. The fool took upon in his mouth a worm, and sucked it as if sucking the genitals of an old man, and when he stood up, he started to dance with the worm in his mouth. He bit half of it off, and took in his other hands the other half, and stuck it up his nose like an insane gay man who was newly married to a woman in which he would spend his life in devotion and in merit. The laughs grew louder still, and it echoed around the child. He covered his ears. There was a click of a gun, and the sound of it rising was apparent. There was a shot fired once, a shot fired twice from the distance, and the fool fell. There was a hole in his head. He was not moving, not smiling. His laugh was laid to rest. His clotted sprint rained down on the child and the Reverend and the donkey on which the voice sat upon. Now, if you want Braun and Mueller to live, you will listen to me, the voice of a man called. The Reverend looked at the child and raised a pale and cracked finger to his lips. What have you done with them? Clamored the child. They are alive. They are alive as you and me. They are alive, and they are in my possession, and they are breathing. Do you understand? Ask our friend the Reverend. The Reverend will know. The Reverend will not lie, boomed the voice. Or perhaps not. Perhaps he is no follower of his God anymore. Perhaps, he said. Perhaps you have already witnessed this before. Perhaps you have already died. Don't listen to him, said the Reverend. I'm not. Have halt to your ears. If we shoot him, we can take his donkey. Shoot the donkey. I'll shoot him. You will not shoot him. Shoot the donkey. I can shoot him. Don't be a fool with your down-to-earth life. Shoot the donkey. Hello, said the voice as warm as the summer rot, speaking to a newcomer on the purlieu. Hello, welcome to my show. The child looked at the Reverend, and he took out his Colt, and he raised his pistol and stood a steady stand and levelled his weapon and fired at the donkey. A spray of red ichor shot from his ear, and the serpent of red reflected off the hanging orb of light and twisted and curved like some untrue liar of a man. The donkey met the son of the devil who had created it. The gore swallowed up child, Reverend, all. He ducked back down and crawled back. He saw that there was no newcomer. He saw that the yellow flesh of the suzerain, naked these past years, sat upon the donkey. I know what you did, said the suzerain. I know what you have done, and I'll take that act appropriately, and I'll take that act as a violation and a declaration of war. The Reverend stood, shaking, and quoted from the good book, and there was a bang, and he fell back, his leg bleeding. By God, you stand here. You stand, and you truly are the devil, sobbed the Reverend. The Reverend, said the voice, the Reverend is not feeling well. The Reverend has been too long in the heat. He is too cloaked, and he is too covered. Come here, he said. Come here, child. Once you have known, I would have loved you like my own child. I would have truly loved you. Blasphemy, said the child. Lies. God knows blasphemy. You would have seen me like a father. You've a blasphemous tongue. Come here, shouted the suzerain. Come here, son. Come here and let me touch you. The child stumbled into the river bank and out of the light deep into the umbrage. Come here if you aren't scared. You think I'm scared of you? You're frenzied. You're insane. Have you hand Braun and Mueller back and run back to your own country? Have he sent to the heavens, and you will have your soul fodder? The suzerain chuckled deep in his throat. No, I was never part of the demonic. No, it was you who was the devil, you who would run with my show, and you who would not stop and not listen. You are crazy. You asked for a savior and settled for a slave. You are unbearably naive. I said, stop your ear, shouted the Reverend. Stop them and run. I ain't running. Hell, you better run. He'll hunt you. Damn you, we can leave at the time that the sun sets. Do you think, he said, do you think that if there was a sunset still, that he'd not be the hunt and you be the loud deer? The child looked at the reverend. He stared at his eyes down, he stared at the tremble in his soul. He got on all fours and crawled through the grass and prayed to his God, the God that he deceived, the God that he had turned his back on. He prayed to his God and his grace, to his mercy, that he would not be stepped on. He slid back into the river. He looked at one final fleeting look at the reverend. His eyes were past his, looking behind the child. His pupils were shaking. The suzerain stood behind him, his knees in the river, and his unholy mirth on his face that reached his soulless eyes. In his hand held a chain with Braun and Mueller attached to them, and they were devoid of their garments. His neck were fashioned of ears and testicles, and his other hand held a pistol. He looked down at the child, the suzerain standing, and the child on all fours, and his Rheticus grew. He raised his weapon slowly. I would have loved you like a son, he said. The end. Epilogue. The fiddles ceased their scratching and heads turned, and the bartenders halted their pouring, and a drink spilled on the floor, towering over them all with the suzerain, and he looked at the fiddlers, and they started to play once more, and the people started to dance, and the suzerain scuttled up to the stage, and he sat at the piano, and he ran his fingers along the keys, pressing each one. His great skull shone through the light, and he got up, and he started to dance, his great naked body moving on stage, and his feet were light and careful, and he was dancing. The floorboards creaking, and the terrible grimace of the suzerain shadowed the faces of the children, and the faster bowing to the men and kissing the ladies, huge and yellow and hairless, and his yellow skin pressing against theirs. And he swears that he has lived hundreds of years, and that he will live thousands more, and that he will never fear. And he lies deep in his throat, and he throws a coin into the crowd, and he dances, and he says that he will never fear. And his great hands, strong and sturdy, pick up the piano, and he places it in the middle of the room below the stage, and he towers over the men, and he says that he will never fear. And he sashays, and he swings, and he dances, and he's unmarked and unscarred, and he is a great one, and he says he will never fear, and he says that he knows all, and he's always singing and playing. He says that he will never fear.